Hey, what is up, everyone? It's Rich. All right, welcome to Super Fun Sunday. Or is it Super Fun Wednesday? No, it actually is Sunday. Yeah, I wanted to do a video. I honestly wanted to do this for a long time just because I think it's such a unique kind of concept that DC did. It was, I think the date says 2009, so it was a long time ago. But they did a series of like Sunday funnies that you could actually open up and get your comic on. Isn't that cool? It clearly doesn't look mint. It's like, for a comic collector, like, this is like OCD, like, nightmare. It's like, oh my god, creases. Anyway, but we have a big hardcover book that collects it. But yeah, so they did, I don't know the exact amount of titles. We'll be able to figure out in a second. But they did a series of comic book stories that are really, really cool. And you could have originally collected them in these newsprint versions, which I have 12 of them. So I'm going to assume that there was only 12. It's possible that there was a 13th one that I maybe misplaced or something. But I'll show you the covers real quick. We can go through them. Oh, and I wanted to do a quick shout out to two channels that I think are just really, really awesome channels. So most people know this channel, I would assume by now, especially if they follow mine, only because, like if you're into the book review thing, it's Cartoonist Kayfabe. I don't know how you say it. But their channel is awesome, and they do really, really good stuff. And it's like, I always enjoy seeing their videos, and my favorite series that they do, honestly, I've said this to my friend a bunch of times, is I really love when people send them boxes of comics and they just go through them, because I think it's fun how random it is, and you do see a lot of really, really neat stuff that you're not aware of. And then the other one is Earl Grey. Earl Grey's got a great channel, and when I first found it maybe a year or two ago, I mean, it really made me feel kind of like a dimwit. I'd watch his videos and just be like, God dang, this guy really understands like storytelling and stuff like that way better than I did. So it definitely inspired me to sort of up my game on that, because it's you can be so close to something that maybe you just don't maybe dissect it as analytically as a fan or someone who, I think he's a writer. But it's a really good channel. So I'll have links in the description box. But yeah, I wanted to give those two channels a shout out because I think they're both excellent. And, they really are, like, they get you excited about comics. And I think that's actually a pretty cool thing. So we'll go through these real quick, and then we'll start looking at art. Ryan Sook did Commandy in this. It is absolutely awesome. You've got Lee Bermejo on a Superman story, Risso on Batman. The Wonder Woman story is really, really uniquely drawn. The Dead Man is great. Some of them I don't remember off the top of my head. We'll see when we get in there. But yeah, I thought the one that I'm curious to see them all. Actually, this will be really fun because I haven't looked at this in years. So, and Dave Gibbons wrote the. I would believe it's Dave Gibbons wrote the Commandy story. That's so cool. So these are all the different covers. And it looks like they rotated the stories a little bit. Like each week looks like it maybe spotlit 3, 4, 5, 6 stories. And maybe the big circle. Well, it'd be hard to open one of these and really go through it. Let's check it out really quick. I know people were complaining my last video was like people were getting like sort of motion sickness. But the problem is if I mount the camera, you're always going to get this like sort of like a static view, and these books are huge. And for me as an artist, I like to see this. Like, I want to see close-ups of the stuff, especially like when we're talking Lee Bermejo and stuff like that. So, you kind of get the good with the bad. Like, check this out. I mean, like, Lee is nuts. Just so you can get a scope. And again, this is a little bigger than 11 by 17. Honestly, I can tell I've got artboards next to me. So the scale of this is actually bigger. But Lee's nuts. So I actually met Lee before he broke in, and then he ended up getting hired at Wildstorm. But I was actually able to really kind of watch his whole evolution into this. It was really fascinating and super inspiring to see him go from, an intern to discovering different things that got him excited about art. And then, I mean, he just went to like the freaking through the stratosphere. And I mean, we'll get into these. We'll look at this stuff more. But this Commandy stuff I think it's some of the best work that Ryan Sook has ever done. I think it's just absolutely beautifully drawn. And man, he was just awesome. So, okay. And again, I apologize for the shaky camera. But for me, I prefer the close-up. So I'm going to run with that. It's my channel. It's my call. No. But what I would like to do is actually... maybe film the footage separately and then edit it, but it just mounts so much time onto the process of the video, and that's something I don't have. So unfortunately, yeah, it makes it tricky. But anyway, hopefully everyone's doing good and well. I don't remember what I was going to say, but this is going to be super fun. All right, I'm going to pause this for 1 second and put those newsprint things. And now we can look at the book. So here's the deal with this book. I was actually a little shocked. I couldn't remember the name of the series, and I knew that I had the book out in my storage. But I started searching for this online, and this book is expensive now. It goes for like somewhere between $150 and $265, depending on where you find it. I would say the average is like $165. You may be able to find it for lower. I mean, there's always that one auction that you missed like 2 weeks earlier that was like $80, and you're like, fuck, like seriously? How does that happen every time? You know what I'm talking about if you shop for stuff. You look in the completed auctions and someone scored like 5 days before you frickin' look for the book. And then all the other ones like $100 more every frickin' time. And I have tons of watches, but I never check it when they give me the updates. I never look. So anyway, but this is just the inner whatever you want to call it, like thing. Oh yeah, Sean Galloway did one in here too. Oh man, this is so good. I don't know if we'll be able to get through this whole book. The Kayfabe guys, they do hour videos. I thought my 32, 33-minute videos were kind of long. I always felt a little guilty. It's like these poor people that want to watch these videos. It's like I'm eating up a lot of their time. But everyone seems to enjoy it. Oh, it's funny. So if I'm not mistaken, see, I don't want to guess on this. I think this was the idea of Mark Chiarello, who DC ultimately... however you want to look at it, they let him go about a year ago, which was pretty shocking. But Mark is not only a brilliant artist, but he's a very, very visionary, like, art director and just all around, like, badass. These are just, well, in 2007, this looks like Tim Sale. This is interesting. Damn, I like Tim Sale's art, honestly. It can be real quirky, but I've always found it kind of cool. This looks great, man. I don't know what this is, but I'll totally check this out. I'll have to read later what it is. Okay, so here's the Risso story. I would assume that maybe they run them in the book in order. Like, I don't think it's going to just hop page to page. Man, Risso's so good. Man, that's just beautiful. I think what happened in the video last Sunday, not the follow-up Michael Golden video that I did, but the first one, I was rushing because someone was hammering like next door, a couple of houses away. I could hear it, and it was really loud and sporadic. And so I started like trying to get through the video quicker, which didn't make any sense because I was still going to do a 30-minute video. But you're just like, you're panicking. So Risso has not only done 100 Bullets, but he did do a Batman mini series, and I mean, you can Wikipedia him, but he's really, really great. And there's always a lot to learn from him. I have all the 100 Bullets issues, and I always keep them around, you know, like not necessarily in my office, but I like to see the ideas spelled out so kind of matter-of-factly. I think that sometimes with comics, especially if the stuff is pretty complex, it can be a little difficult to sort of see the shot and stuff like that. So when you have artists like Risso who really kind of boil their stuff down, you know, you can see the storytelling, the camera angle. all that good stuff. I'm trying to get the book a little bit up so the pages are easy to turn. Sometimes it gets like... This is nice. The colors are actually quite nice on this story. I like it. It's real simple. I mean, not totally simple. This is really nice. Man, this is a great page. Way back, Rizzo, there were two things that he would do with his original art: is you could buy full books, or you could buy individual pages, and everything was just priced the same. I can't remember the amount, but like every page was like $200, and like every issue was like 11 grand or something like that. And I mean, it was pretty crazy. Like, it's an interesting way to do it. God, these are great pages. So his story feels long. Like, okay, and here we go. Oh, Commandy, this is so good. Oh man, Sook killed it. I think what we'll do, well, we'll see. I'm trying to figure out, because this book is long. We're never going to get through the whole thing. I think this Commandy story is just absolutely insane. God, he's so good. Look at that, man. It's really interesting, the different styles that Sook blends, because he's gone through a few iterations just in his own work. I mean, he was definitely heavily doing Mike Mignola on the Spectre if you go way back with his stuff. And then his stuff got very Adam Hughes influenced. And then this kind of looks like Hal Foster or something like that. But then it blends all the other stuff. It's really interesting. A little Kevin Nolan, you know. But man, it's wild. It's so good. It always just blows me away that people can create images like this. Like like the lighting on the boots. It's just like all those little details. Like, I mean, like look at this panel. I mean, this would look great in black and white too. God, you know, on my little imaginary bucket list, I wouldn't mind getting an original page from this. I don't know, who knows where they are at this moment, but it would be something worthwhile to keep like your eye out for. I'm like talking to myself. This is cool. I wonder what size he drew these. This stuff could be blown up just the tiniest bit for this book. Like I said, the pages are a little bit bigger than 11 by 17. Man, that is so awesome. Look at that. Yeah. This is a good example of getting an opportunity to do something and just going so far beyond what the expectations of a comic book artist were. You know, you've heard me say in other videos that like kind of every book you do, every job you do, every pinup you do, every cover you do, it's an opportunity to like leave behind something that at some point someone's going to discover. They're going to pick up some random comic and you've got a short story in it, or there's a pinup of yours in the back of the book. And you can leave behind gems or turds. That's what I would say. And I know a lot of artists that do leave behind turds. It sounds bad to say, but it's like it's just a pinup for blah blah blah, and they kind of sort of just rush it out, and I don't know, I think like if you're a fan of Ryan Sook and someday you come across this and you didn't know it existed, this could go right up the ladder to be your most favorite thing that he's ever done. But then maybe he did another short story right after this that's just as good. I don't even know. I mean, I don't know what he's done in the last 10 years. I follow him, I think, on Instagram. I'm pretty sure. If not, I will today. But it's difficult as a fan to keep track of like everything that people do. Yeah, my advice for any artist is always try to do your best work. Really take every little piece seriously, and respect every character that you draw. I think that that's really important too. No matter how corny or like maybe you don't completely connect with the character, but I do think it's a good idea to try to like empathize with the character. Understand their origin, understand like their motivations, and then kind of act for them and how they would behave in a certain situation. And I think that really pays like huge dividends. I mean, you can really tell that Ryan was like feeling this story. Yeah, this is just insane. Check out this last panel. That's actually really nice. I love stuff like that. And then this. Kingdom of Apes. Beep, beep, beep. Cool logo. Actually, the silhouette is really, really cool in the back, too. This shot right here, man, this let me grab a pointer. This face right here is really, really cool. Like the angle that he's got that monkey's head turned at. Man, it's a lot of detail. Whew, it's a lot of Jeeps to draw. My gosh. When people say comic book artists don't work hard, it would beg to differ when you see something like that. That's a lot of stuff to draw. All right, let's go. What do we got? Glare. I'm trying to. Wow, that's nuts. He might have colored this story himself. I'm not saying that he did, but Ryan does actually color his own stuff sometimes. I'm thinking that he probably didn't. This is a lot of work to be coloring on top of it. We could check maybe at the end. So we're 18 minutes in. We're doing all right. Doing all right. Oh, they only credit Ryan. Created by Jack Kirby. Oh man, that's really cool. Great gesture with that ape. Oh man, next we've got Lee. Crazy Lee. But it's funny too. This is nice. I've wanted to do a video of Lee for a long time, so we're sneaking one in an interesting way. Hopefully, this video gets a lot of views. I think the title might throw people. I think what we'll do is we'll just do Lee and we'll stop after Lee for now, and then we can always come back to this. Okay, so this is the last Commandy page, and then we've got the Lee Superman story. Yeah, I wasn't sure which story to do. We could maybe do like his Joker book. Lee, I'm talking about. It's Bermejo. Some people may not know how to pronounce his last name. Okay, and so this one did get credited with the colors. Lee does all this tonal stuff himself, though. So, like, if you see Lee stuff in black and white, all the value, and generally speaking, he does. A lot of that sort of shading that you see is in his work, which is pretty nuts. I think he used to do it with wash. I'm not 100% sure if he does it now, maybe more with graphite. Not really. I would only be guessing. Lee does the best, like, big hands and buff guy arms. Man, they're so good. It's just fascinating. And this again, this was a long time ago. This is before the Joker book, and obviously Batman Damned. But, man, his evolution into this stuff was so wild. That's really, really cool. He did Resident Evil, like the Resident Evil magazines. That's some of his earliest like published work. They're good though. There's some cool monsters in it, and him and Carlos Deanda were working on that book on and off for, I don't know, probably a year or so. So there's a few. It was funny, as I actually had just come across those recently, going through the thing. This is a nice panel. Oh, jeez, check this out. And then he did Batman Deathblow. Superman Gen 13, I think, was before that. And then I don't want to try to keep guessing what the order is, but man, look at that. That's so cool. So many different ways to draw comics. Actually, you know what? We'll go past Lee. We'll look at all the Lee pages, but I want to show you one other story on this video because I think it'll be really interesting. Whoa, what was that? There's children yelling outside. Look at him, he's sleeping like an angel. Ooh, Chiarella's a huge baseball fan. I'm sure he appreciated that baseball poster. Man, that is so cool. Look at that. That's so nice. God, man, that's so sick. This guy looks pretty intimidating. Well, the armor's nice. It was really fun working at Wildstorm with these guys because we would all get into different stuff. Like we had our little Adam Hughes phase, not little, but you know what I mean. Like you'd get really excited, like when Adam started doing Wonder Woman covers or even X-Men Wildcats. It was like, oh my god! And then we all were really into like J.C. Leyendecker and Phil Hale and oh man, just so much good art. We were all fans of such a big variety of stuff, and it was neat when you would share an office. And we were the Tony Raiola kids. Tony Raiola is a book dealer from Los Angeles that comes down to Comic-Con, but we'd all go to Tony's booth at Comic-Con and be like, Tony, what do we need to get? And he would turn us on to all this, like Dino Battaglia and Micheluzzi and the Sergio Topi and all that stuff. So we were early adopters of a lot of that stuff. I will say that I feel like Wildstorm, the group of people that were there were probably some of the more exploratory like image artists. We were definitely cut from a different cloth of we were actively always looking for stuff that was way off the beaten path, fine art and all that stuff, and I didn't really see that probably happening as much with the other studios. I'm laughing because I'm thinking of some of the comics that were coming out at that time, but yeah. And I mean, I think Eventually, though, it evened out, and I think people started to take it more seriously. There was a weird chain of events with stuff. Wow, that's so crazy. His Bizarro is so nuts. That is a nice, nice gesture, man. Those arms and hands are great. It's a tough position to draw a hand in. I think that's one of the harder angles of a fist for sure. Man, look at that arm, dude. There's a very active bird outside right now. That's a cool shot. For some reason, seeing this reminded me of like Alex Ross, but the sketchbooks that Alex Ross had out that were sort of like accompaniments to like Kingdom Come and stuff like that. That stuff was really, really interesting. Those tonal pencil drawings that he would do were so cool. Paint stuff is great too. Man, I felt very, very fortunate because he was doing Astro City covers for Wildstorm, and he would send in the original paintings. And so in the like art room, there would be Alex Ross paintings. And man, sometimes I would look at them and just be like, they were perfect. I mean, there was like, it was crazy how tight and well executed they were. I mean, they honestly, if you had it on slightly different paper, it would almost look like they were a print. That's how perfect they were. I couldn't see any sort of like, it didn't look like human hands had ever even touched them. It was nuts. Okay, so the one that I wanted to show you guys, because I mean, this is a very, very interesting one, but is I had mentioned this to a friend of mine that there was one story in here that had like a ton of panels. I think it was the Ben Caldwell story. So let's just find it really fast. This is kind of cool. But, stuff like this. But let me see. This is such a crazy page. Check this out. But this isn't the Ben Caldwell story. I think he did Wonder Woman, if I remember correctly. Oh yeah, this. So check this out. This is such a bizarre storytelling technique. It overwhelmed me, honestly, when I first saw it. Now I would maybe be a little more patient, like looking through it. But man, like look at this page. And we'll zoom in on the panels in just a second. I just want you to get an idea of what this a type of storytelling looked like. It almost felt like to me like this was a double page spread. Do you see that? Like this looks like a spread, okay? And then this looks like a full page, like right here. And then this looks like a full page. And I don't know if he was like kind of trying to cheat and do 3 pages in one. But look at this. And the colors are beautiful. Hold on, we'll go back and we'll start at the beginning. But I just wanted you to get an idea of what this looks like. But I thought this was really wild. And you don't see a lot of storytelling in American comics in particular that ever looks like this. I don't think. Man, the colors are nice. Okay, so let's start back at the beginning. So this is Ben Caldwell. Okay, and no color credit, so I'm going to assume that he did it. And like I said, we'll look through this. Worst case scenario, if I have to edit this video, it's fine. But we will stop after this story. But I figure this will be a nice variety of stuff. I actually have a Ben Caldwell like drawing book. Like he did like a technique book, if I'm not mistaken. Somewhere I have it. Just shows, man, how many different ways that you can draw comic books. I mean, it is really, really crazy. Man, the colors on this stuff are so good. Yeah, really felt that like the artists clearly could sense this was an incredibly unique opportunity, and I feel like everybody involved really kind of just put put a lot of work into their stuff and tried to do the best thing that they could. And it really, I mean, as a fan of comics and you know, getting something like this, I mean, you just are not going to go wrong. Look at this stuff. I can't even imagine. Oh, he wrote it himself. Okay, I was like if you got the script and there was like 35 panels, you'd be like, what in the world are you trying to do to me? He wrote it though, so he knew what he was in for. That's really cool. All right. It's nice. You know, one thing that I definitely have noticed, I think more and more over the last like year in particular, is if you can do panel to panel work, the odds of you getting work go up just so much. It's just, there's no two ways about it. I think any company and I mean, obviously like self-publishing is a big thing now too. So I mean, you can look at that as its own thing that falls on your shoulders, but just generally speaking, I think that if you can tell a decent story through panel to panel work, your value as an artist in comics just goes up like so much. Because the more I look at everything that's being published right now, I mean, I don't think that there's any sort of definitive style that companies are looking for. I mean, the house style thing, you could argue that there's things that they lean towards more, but if you're a warm body and you can produce on a consistent basis and do any kind of panel to panel work that's somewhat clear, I think you're pretty in demand. So this should be encouraging, you know. Okay, I'm going to wrap this up because I don't want to have to edit this video. So, all right, I'll talk to y'all later. There's more of this. We can definitely come back to this book at some point. Check out some of the other stories. And, Joe Kubert. Cool. All right, have a great day. And I hope that you all have a super fun sunny... Oh, Brian Stelfreeze. Holy cow. Yeah, we may need to revisit this book. So, all right, I'll talk to you later. Okay, bye.